Come in.
So guys, welcome to a Star Trek Writer Says. That would be me. I wrote for Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and I pitched quite a few times to Voyager and DS9. Didn't pitch to Enterprise. I was going to. I was getting around to it, and then a lot of things with college and life and work, and so I never did. But I wanted to start off. This is sort of a new segment on a sci-fi guy, and just about pitching Hollywood, writing, sort of surviving it. And I want to start off the bat with my first in-person pitch at Paramount Pictures with Jeri Taylor, co-creator of Star Trek Voyager and at the time showrunner. We just lost Jeri about a year or so ago. Great lady. What a wonderful first meeting. This is my first Hollywood meeting because I had written for Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. I had sold the script, so there wasn't any meeting, phone, or person. I wrote the script. They considered it. They call it coverage. A reader, one of the studio readers, Paramount, they read the scripts and then they bring it to the attention of the producers if they like it. It's called coverage. They do a sort of credit rating system and how much they liked it and what's good about it. So there was no meeting, phone or otherwise. So when I got the call from Jeri's assistant, Zara Cabot, great lady too, and she said, "Would you like to come and pitch to Jeri?" I was like, "Great." And at first she said, "Oh, you want to do a phone pitch?" I said, I'd rather do it in person. She said, "Fine." So we set it up. So I think my core sort of gist and mission for this video is to talk about surviving, certainly prepping, but surviving that pitch. And since it was my first meeting, a Hollywood meeting in any way, of course I was a little nervous, but I was very excited. Voyager was on the air. I guess it was maybe 6 months, it was under a year. And it was after the pilot, after Caretaker, and, maybe 6 or 7 episodes. So I went out, I guess it was May. It was late May or so. Yeah, that's right. It began in January, I believe, the pilot. So that's February, March, April, May. So it was 4 months after the pilot. And so I had seen at that point maybe, again, 7, 8 episodes or so. So you're talking about, even though Star Trek had been around a long time, this is a brand new show. I wasn't quite sure of the direction, the mission. Neither were they. I remember the pitch kit with the writer's Bible. Jeri wrote a great personal letter. "We can't wait to meet you. Wondrous, awe-inspiring, journeys await us." But that's about it. The Voyager itself, the binaural gel packs, the capacity, the crew complement, all that stuff. But what are we really going to be do that we're sort of lost in the Delta Quadrant? We're kind of far away from Federation space. So I did prep. Of course, I looked at the episodes as much as possible. Back in the day, we had to record them on VHS. We couldn't do streaming and on demand pretty much. So I watched as many. I took notes. I remember scribbling notes in little pads in my composition notebook and such. And then I formulated my pitches. I went out and I met Jeri. Great lady, awesome office. She had written for Jake and the Fat Man, a Magnum PI. She had posters on the wall about that. And so we were, meet and greet. We're getting into the thick of my pitch. And I remember the first pitch or two, usually you start off, I guess, with your, lower tier, your ones that are not going to wow them. So you say 4 or 5, you should bring maybe 4 to 6 ideas. So I did 1 or 2 or so, and she was, polite. She's like, "I don't know." And then I pitched an idea called Outcry. And it was centered on Janeway, a weird planet, sort of a call, a mission, an alien sort of telepathic link, and she loved it. And I think that's my most valuable advice I can give to you when you're in that meeting. And I urge you to try to get the in-person. Today, I guess it would be Zoom and video. We didn't do that back then, of course, which is, I guess, the next best thing. And I would imagine they do now video Zoom meetings and pitches instead of just on the phone, unless you just want to do audio. But to see the body language, the facial expressions of who you're pitching to, and Jeri's face just lit up. She's like, I love this. She said, I can't wait to take this to Kate Mulgrew, Janeway herself, Captain Janeway herself. And so I was like, this is great. It was a wonderful experience. Subsequently, of course, they did not buy the pitch. I didn't sell it, but I got close. And again, my advice, my tip is to get it in person. Well, Zoom now, of course, but I'm sure they still do in-person pitches as well. Try to get a live audience, see who you're pitching to, so you can play off that. You can see what they're liking and what they're not. And in this case, with Outcry, I hit a home run, but, still didn't sell it. But hey, great experience. Awesome way to sort of introduce myself to Hollywood in the system. So there you go. Give us your feedback. Give us your thoughts. Are you planning to pitch? Do you write? Do you have any plans to do any types of sci-fi or even Star Trek? I don't know what the system is now. I've considered pitching to Strange New Worlds and some of the new stuff. Honestly, it doesn't float my boat. Strange New Worlds isn't bad, though, and I would consider that, and I actually formulated a couple casual pitches, so we'll see, though. I think the time's ticking there. I don't know how much longer it'll be around, right? So give us your thoughts, give us your feedback. Hope you're enjoying, hope you're subscribing. See you soon.